BMWs are known for pushing beyond the boundaries of the ordinary. They're always trying to do something a little bit different, but more importantly, something a little bit better. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly why with the BMW 4 Series. So stick around and enjoy the show. Now with the BMW 4 Series, there are essentially three variations to choose from. The two-door coupe, the two-door convertible, or what BMW calls a cabriolet, or the four-door Grand Coupe that we have here. In terms of powertrain, you get to choose two, either the xDrive 430i or the 440i. Before we actually get our hands dirty with the actual review of this car, let's go over some of the specs. So today we're reviewing the 2019 BMW 430i. Our tester model is a Grand Coupe, which is a four-door fastback that seats 5, and the base price is $53,250. The BMW 4 Series is also available in a two-door coupe, base priced at $51,450, or the cabriolet convertible at $61,750. Now there are two powertrains to choose from. Our tester is equipped with the xDrive 430i that's got a BMW B48 engine. It's a 2.0-liter inline 4-cylinder engine that produces 248 horsepower and 258 pound-feet of torque. The transmission is only available in an 8-speed automatic with sequential shift mode. Fuel economy EPA scores in at 23, 33, and 27 miles per gallon, city, highway, and combined. The upgraded xDrive 440i comes with a larger B58 engine. That's a 3.0-liter inline V6 producing 322 horsepower and 332 pound-feet of torque, or in other words, 74 horsepower more than the 430i, which is substantial. Everything else remains the same. Fuel economy is going to be a bit worse though, at 21, 32, and 25 miles per gallon, city, highway, and combined. Now as mentioned, the base price is $53,250 for our tester model. Our tester also comes preloaded with a premium package. For an extra $6,500, you get heated steering wheel, heated and ventilated front seats, alarm, comfort access, which is also termed keyless entry, a heads-up display, heated rear seats, and park and blind spot monitoring. Now what you can essentially expect from the 4 Series though is that the underlying best bits and pieces of the BMW car are left intact while tweaking the exterior styling and other features. Now the idea in particular with the Grand Coupe was to essentially make a four-door car look like a sports coupe. They've essentially achieved this by shortening the front wheel overhang while streamlining the front rooftop silhouette and introducing a one-piece fastback tailgate design. Now in the front, you've got dual LED bi-xenon headlamps and of course, the dual kidney front grille that establishes the BMW's trademark visual identity. So what makes the Gran Coupe so interesting is the fastback tailgate design. Essentially, it's a tailgate that actually opens up like a hatchback. Now inside, you'll get about 481 liters of cargo space. Now the good news is that the 60/40 seats will increase the cargo capacity to about 2.7 times more, or close to 1,300 liters. Now what's also interesting about the design of the 4 Series is that the door windows have no metal trimming around it. This gives you a more sportier driving experience. There's also a window gap here reserved for this massive subframe pillar here to improve the overall rigidity and stiffness of the chassis. Alright, so let's check out the inside of the BMW 430i. So first thing first, it's a capacitive keyless entry, so I can lock by just pressing this capacitive button here and unlock by putting my hand in the back of the handle. So starting off with the seats, it's a 12-way power adjustable. I can also adjust the lateral supports using these buttons here. And there's also this leg extension adjustment that you can actually configure to your liking with just a spring-loaded lever here that you can pull out or push back down. Hopping into the inside. And of course you've got this kind of this spaceship joystick gear shifter here. I'm not going to go into too many details. Up here you've got your 7-inch standard infotainment screen as well as your heating vents, CD player and dual climate control system. You've also got a simple USB port here for charging or connecting your iPhone or Android mobile phone. And of course 2 cup holders, one for my cup and one for my phone, as you can tell. Up here you've got some flat P pedal shifters, and you have this really thick steering wheel. It's got a lot of material. It's very comfortable to touch as well. And you've also got this instrument cluster. So it's got some chrome ringing around it, but it is full LCD, and the display does change based on your driving configuration. Now, at first, everything looks very simple and very plain Jane. You might not notice that there is actually anything interesting, but after a while, I actually realized there are some really subtle differences that make the interior stand out from its competitors. And that's safe to say that the designers at BMW are not just pulling a 9 to 5, they're actually trying to push the limits and do something better and different from the others. One of the examples is that this whole instrument panel center console is actually not just straight. I don't know how you... Now, in terms of the seats, I actually really like the leather material. As you can see, the leather texturing is actually really deep, which I actually really like. This kind of gives you a very aggressive interior cosmetic experience. Now, the seats are actually really comfortable in the sense that it really holds you in kind of like a kangaroo pouch without restricting too much movement. Now, the BMW iDrive system is pretty good. It's got maps, media, and phone connectivity. But what I really like about the infotainment system is that how fast it moves between selections and icon settings, which really makes the overall system very enjoyable and easy to use. Now, if I also switch between drive modes, there's also these fancy graphics that also show you and display exactly what the car is actually doing. I can also turn on or off traction control, and what's really nice is that it actually gives you a kind of a short description as to what the option is actually doing. I can also select this button down here to turn on the side view cameras, as well as turn on or turn off park assist. Now, you don't get a lot of interior cargo space. Of course, you have your standard glove box down here, and some cup holders here and a little bit of cargo space. But unfortunately, this container here is only made room for your wireless cellular charging system. You also have a little bit more cargo space to maybe put your keys or little minor belongings, but other than that, there's not much room. Alright, enough of the pep talk. Let's go for a test drive. So straight off the bat, the BMW 440, or sorry, the 430i that we're driving here feels really rock solid. And the steering and handling is pretty good because it's got such a low center of gravity and also a wider track stance. So it essentially has a bigger footprint on the road. So it's actually, grabbing the road with more surface area. And you also have an 8-speed automatic gearbox, which works pretty nice when I go into manual shift mode. The paddle shifters actually do a pretty good job at switching gears pretty quickly as well. Now, when I first drove the BMW 430i, I actually noticed, or you might even be able to tell, that it's actually really loud inside. I can actually feel the tires really grabbing onto the road, and essentially the fact that, for example, this pillar here is essentially hollow. So you really hear practically everything that the tires are actually biting on. And I don't know if that was a desirable thing at first, but actually when I noticed while driving or actually after a week's worth of driving the 430i, was actually pretty amazing in the sense that the entire chassis actually blocks out all the wind noise and all the exterior noise, but keeping the tire noise and the engine sound, so to really give you that driver-focused experience. And with 248 horsepower, it's actually not too bad. It's actually got a twin turbocharged 4-cylinder engine, which actually works pretty nice for the most part. And yes, the suspensions are stiff tuned, but the fact that the whole chassis is just so rock solid, so you kind of just ride through everything really. It's actually not that bad. But again, you do really feel a lot of the bumps on the road. Even just driving over the street reflectors, you actually really feel it through the chassis. Now, despite the fact that it's turbocharged 4-cylinder, there's actually not much turbo lag. I mean, the engine is actually tuned fairly well and fairly linear. Now, in terms of fuel economy, I think the BMW 430i, the 4-cylinder turbocharged engine, gets about 9.8 city and combined city and highway EPA rating. But on my typical driving, I get about around 10.8 to 11, which it's okay. It's not good or not bad, but you can live with it. Now, if I switch it to sport mode using the drive mode selector, I can go to sport mode plus, so the engine really starts to become more responsive, especially to your accelerator pedal, and the gear shifts are latched much longer, up to maybe like 3,500 to 4,000 RPM. So of course, with a higher RPM, you also get, much more engine torque and much more responsiveness from the engine as well. And I really like the 8-speed manual, 8-speed automatic transmission. It's definitely really responsive and really quick to react. And yeah, like I said, the BMW 430 does feel rock solid. It feels like I'm driving a tank almost. And even the door itself is really heavy. And even the momentum of the weight by the door itself actually closes. It's actually really rock solid. It feels like a very dense car. What I also really like are these seats as well. It puts you in a very comfortable kind of a couch seating position. It really holds you together, kind of like a bucket seat, but it doesn't restrict too much mobility. So it actually makes the seats really comfortable while still holding you tight, especially around corners. Alright, so the take-home note is that the BMW 430i does feel absolutely amazing, especially on the drive. Especially the fact that it's all in really the powertrain, that tank-like classical BMW driving experience. It doesn't need to dress to impress, like I said, but rather the powertrain really does all of the work to really make the BMW 430i a luxury ride. Alright, that's my take on the BMW 4 Series. Let me know what you guys think, and until next time.